Hello and welcome to Cricket and Wrestling for Us. And we're back with another edition of This Week in Wrestling. And yes, I'm in my Mick Foley shirt, as everyone keeps telling me. And I'm very excited to have Aman once again to discuss This Week in Wrestling with us. It's always an eventful week, especially if there is an AEW. See what I did there? I didn't talk about WWE. I talked about AEW. But let's get down to it. Let's start with WWE because Raw happened. We did the draft video last week and got a really good response on it, surprisingly, because I didn't think we would. I thought it was just going to be a bash in the pan, but thankfully people did respond to that. So thank you everyone for watching those. We're not going to talk about Raw because we kind of touched upon Raw in that video. We're going to start off with NXT 2.0, which is becoming my like guilty pleasure because I don't like it, but I want to watch it, if you know what I mean. It's like, it's not NXT, obviously. It's definitely developmental. But some things on the show I'm just finding really entertaining. Like, they're still going to do Halloween Havoc in a few weeks, which will be great. You have Ciampa and Braun Breaker having that fight, or Rick Steiner 2.0, as you could call him, if they wanted to, right? There's a really interesting dynamic between Kyle O'Reilly and that big dude who looks like the Great Khali, but white. There's a lot of good, interesting things going on. Aman, what did you think of NXT 2.0 this week?
No, I agree with you. The guilty pleasure comment has made me laugh. But yeah, I think like we've said so many times over the weeks past, the NXT that we personally enjoyed, that's gone now. But I'm glad that they're keeping these traditions that they had prior, like Halloween Havoc, and they'll do New Year's Evil or something, I think it was called, those little mini staple events. It'll be interesting to see the presentation, if it's changed, how the structure and the layout of it is all done. I do think that the Ciampa Braun Breaker feud was to be expected. I mean, how could you not look at he's everything. Breaker is everything Vince loves in an athlete, that he likes to push. So I wouldn't be surprised if they strap him and push him to the moon. Say he'll have the championship, say maybe 6 months at the latest, I would imagine, and then bring him to Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout. I just want to interrupt there because I just remembered the women's NXT championship is also, it's getting contested by none other than Mandy Rose and Raquel Gonzalez. I didn't know she could speak Spanish until this week, by the way. And when she said words like Chiquita and stuff, I was like, interesting. I didn't know this, and that is going to be interesting. It's like, you have the big baby face versus a group of evildoers, right? And that kind of dynamic you don't see we haven't seen in NXT, but it's working really well. I think, yes, the side characters of Toxic Attraction, they're not as good at cutting promos as maybe they're being sold out to be. I haven't personally been impressed, but that dynamic and the story they're going for, I'm actually quite enjoying that as well. Sorry, I just thought I'd interrupt you there. But yeah, you can continue, man.
But yeah, I think I'm gonna have a differing opinion to you on the women's side. Not the biggest Mandy Rose fan. I'm not invested as such in that character right now, or have been in the past. I did enjoy her stuff with Otis when they were doing that comedy, will they, won't they relationship story. But I think the two, I can't remember their names, the two other females with Mandy, maybe you can jump in and just give me their names. But I just think that it's not really a feud that I would be interested in. I think the money match for me would have been Raquel and Frankie, but not rushed, like based and planned and built up to, that would have been my money match. And then I would have strapped Frankie, and then Raquel could go on to the main roster. In terms of the Kyle O'Reilly stuff, I think that sizzle has lessened a little bit from his feud with Adam Cole, and then moving on. I'm not really sure what they're doing with Kyle O'Reilly and Pete Dunne. I thought Pete Dunne had something good with Ridge Holland going, but then they drafted Ridge Holland, so obviously they were just short-term plans. There was no long-term plan in place, or maybe there was, and Vince decided, you know what, rip those plans in the air. I'm moving into Smackdown. I think he's gone to, which wouldn't surprise me. So again, NXT, an okay show, not my favorite show. I think is very well documented throughout these shows, but good. Not amazing, but good. I think I would cast it as.
Yeah, fair point there. I think that's a fair assessment. Again, just to add on to what you said, it's Dolan and Jane. I quickly Googled it while you said. So again, not the biggest fan of either of those or Mandy Rose, but I think it's probably the most main roster trend they could have gone with, and that's what Vince loves, doesn't it? So I think that's why they've gone in that direction. Again, personally, I've quite enjoyed NXT 2.0. Surprise for a guy who used to love NXT, honestly. And I was like, yeah, they're going to mess it up. But it hasn't been as bad as I expected. Let's just put it that way. If we talk about Smackdown, so Smackdown was
intriguing. We have, obviously, we're going to talk about the similar things once again, but, in a different context. Paul Heyman was praised just a little bit by Roman Reigns for letting the Usos remain on SmackDown.
But that shot where Paul Heyman's on the ground and Roman Reigns and Usos, the storytelling there is just fantastic. It's great to see, and I can't wait. And you don't hear many people say this, but I can't wait for Crown Jewel, okay? Because I really want to see how that dynamic works. If Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, no one knows who's going to win. What's going to happen? Is Paul Heyman going to betray Roman for Brock, or what's actually going to happen? So I'm very intrigued by that. Then we have the Edge and Seth Rollins segment, which is quite funny that he actually stole a picture of Edge and Beth Phoenix rather than doing anything else, which is crazy. But again, promo battles like crazy. The spear out of nowhere, no RK, no R-rated RKO, whatever it was called, kind of puns intended. But yeah, Edge is still looking the best he has done in a very long time. And this is before he got injured. Even before he got injured, when he was wrestling, I thought, yeah, Edge looks all right, but he's just looking better and better every time. And then obviously we have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is 3 wrestlers, triple threat match that's going to happen between Sasha, Bianca, and Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, I've heard so many things about, people compare. She is that kid in the classroom, right? Who's like, oh, do you want to do this? And just in the middle, kind of poking both of the big deals. Even though Becky Lynch is the champion, she's the bigger deal. She's just poking fun at everyone, trying to make it very entertaining for the audience. And even though she's a heel, I don't think many people are going to boo her unless, obviously she does something really, really bad. But otherwise, just the entertainment factor. She's very, very fun right now. And same with Baron Corbin or Happy Corbin and what's his name? Ross. Riddick Moss, not Ross. Moss, right? Riddick Moss, right? That segment, they're quite funny. They're stupid, but no offense to those guys, I mean the characters. But they're acting not in the smartest way, but it's really, really funny. And I feel bad that Kevin Owens is getting absolutely slashed and thrashed and being embarrassed every single week. But it's just because the dude's contract is expiring in a few months. So they're like, let's embarrass him enough and then say, we'll give you a title shot if you stay with us, right? I don't know. I feel like I'm being very cynical, but it looks like that. And obviously, I remember you used to be a huge Rey Mysterio fan back in the day. Do you like the Dominic Rey dynamic? Do you think it's good for Ray or Dominic's character? Because honestly, I kind of got bored of it now. Like they're gonna break the father-son duo up. They're gonna do a match where they fight each other, and I'm not too happy about that. But yeah, I'm kind of SmackDown for me was a bit of a bummer compared to what SmackDown has been for quite a lot of weeks. Apart from the big 3 segments I've already mentioned. But yeah, that's me done for like 3 minutes. Aman, take it away. SmackDown, what were your thoughts?
I really enjoyed SmackDown this week. I think in terms of pure storyline progression and storytelling, I think SmackDown was the best show this week. That like you mentioned, the Paul Heyman Roman Reigns stuff is just done to perfection. The more praise Paul Heyman gets, the better, because that guy has every story he's been involved in, not just his Roman one, every story he's been involved in throughout his WWE career has just been incredible. The way it's shot, his facial expressions, everything. When he was kind of groveling to Roman, and then they had that shot where Paul was looking in the camera, but they had Roman with a growl looking at him. It was brilliant. I've really, really enjoyed this feud so far, and like you said, it just increases anticipation for the Brock Roman match at Crown Jewel, because you're just going to be constantly second guessing yourself. Where does Paul Heyman's allegiances lie? Is he with Roman? Is he with Brock? Is he playing them both off each other? What is going to happen? So it's very, very interesting, very intriguing, and I'm enjoying it a hell of a lot. The progression of the story throughout the weeks, especially keeping it relevant when Brock isn't there all the time, is brilliant. The Seth Edge stuff, I've said on this show several times, I'm a huge fan of this creepy, slimy, sleazeball Seth character. The way last week where he was just moving around on that sofa, on that armchair, it was just like if you saw that guy in your house, you'd want to punch him in the face and say, "Get the hell out of my house." The Hell in a Cell thing I didn't see coming. And then when I watched it, and I was like, "Oh, have they announced a match for the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view so quickly?" And then when they actually said, "Oh, well, it's happening in Saudi Arabia," I was like, okay, makes sense. But like we've said before, they stack these Saudi shows, so it shouldn't come as much of a surprise. But I'm really enjoying that feud. I think that match is going to be fantastic. The quality of the talent involved is it's one of the matches that I could think potentially steal the show on that night. Again, I've enjoyed the women's feud. I think for me, it is pretty much academic that Becky will retain that championship. I believe she's been drafted to Raw, so I think she'll be staying on Raw along with Bianca. So I just think it's something just to get the women featured on this show. Again, I've said before, time and time again, Bianca does not look nervous. She doesn't look apprehensive. She slots right in to where she needs to be, in between two of the biggest women's wrestlers that the WWE has right now. I've really enjoyed that, so I'm intrigued about that match. The thing that I really enjoyed, purely from a match perspective as well, Finn Balor and Cesaro. And for all those eagle-eyed, we'll see that I'm repping a Finn t-shirt today. But I thought that match was really, very good. And I just think from a storyline perspective, it'd be very cool to say, well, if they had Finn win that entire tournament and he'd be like, well, I was known for the prince for so many years, but I'm the king now. So I just think that would be a really, really nice avenue to go down. But SmackDown, I enjoyed. In terms of the Kevin Owens stuff, it doesn't surprise me if they have a feeling that he is going to go, and after his 90 days expires, you'll see him on Dynamite. Then I think they're going to, if that's what he wants to do, if that's the impression they've got, let's ruin his stock and credibility before he goes to another brand. Whether it's clearly, I personally don't think it's the right thing to do, but that's how Vince and co seem to operate. And again, like we've said, it's his company. He can do whatever the hell he wants. He signs the checks. But in terms of a show, I thought it was very good.
Yeah, you mentioned something that I genuinely missed. So King of the Ring and the what's it called, the Queen's Gambit or something?
Queen of the Crown or something like that, I think.
So both of those tournaments, I think the King of the Ring was real segment, and how that might actually progress is going to be really, really interesting. And that comparison between Prince and King, that'll be great. If that happens, it's a good character shift, and maybe even goes to the Finn Balor heel persona, which I would like to see, but most people probably won't.
I wouldn't do it hokey though. Not they can go like King Booker or King Corbin. No, like a serious, like Walter type character where he's like, okay, you're stepping up to the king now. Let's see how you fare. That type of serious, pure wrestling, mat-based type character. None of this hokey, wishy-washy, childlike stuff. But if I had the pencil, that's how I would present him.
Do you remember the return of Finn Balor in NXT? Right, that's the type of level I want. Lift our attention to AEW and Dynamite. So I can't remember much from that show, barring two things. Number one, that ladder match, right, was actually really, really entertaining. Like, if I think of, and again, this is recency bias all over again, but in the last 4 years, the best ladder matches I've seen, number one is that NXT match where Velveteen Dream did the elbow from the top of the ladder, and that was a great ladder match. And then second for me is this ladder match. It was so good, and the way you saw Pac, you saw Moxley, you saw, spoiler alert, the Joker was Adam Page. All right, we had there was loads of people. I can't even remember everyone, which is shocking. And you're probably going to go through the list, but that match was entertaining gold. Orange Cassidy was in it. Lance Archer was in it. All right, so yeah, very, very entertaining match. Honestly, the way that show ended, I was like, I don't care how the rest of the show was, even if it was really good. Genuinely can't remember it, so I'll leave it to you. But yeah, man, Dynamite for me was the show of the week, personally.
I agree with you. If you're looking from a perspective of storytelling, wrestling, excitement, all those things combined, I think Dynamite was very good this week. I thought when they announced it that, there'll be a Joker and we don't know who it is, I thought they're going to debut somebody, aren't they? But I didn't cross my mind for a second that they would bring Hangman Page back. But that pop that he received when his music hit the screen, and it was just incredible. That guy is a main event star, ready and waiting to happen. He got cheered even when he was up against traditional baby faces like Moxley, like Orange Cassidy, everybody. I think it was the right thing that he went over. You need to strap the rocket on his back and watch him explode, make him become the next AEW World Champion. Really, really enjoyed that match. Their ladder match, I thought, was incredible. Some of the spots that Pac took, though, like that power bomb, you could just see the whiplash off his head, banging off the mat. That dead eye that Hangman delivered to him off the top of a ladder through a table. Some of the spots that he was taking were just insane. So I really, really enjoyed that ladder match. Wasn't really too keen about the 8-man for the opener. I just, like we were discussing last week, it was just spot after spot after spot after spot. It was going so fast. But where they go with that, I don't know. But I can see why you do it, because you're catering to your core audience. But I just wish they had some space and some time in between the moves to get people more and more invested and get the excitement and the anticipation up. And the only thing that I wanted to address in terms of Dynamite, I thought everything else was good. The Arn Anderson Cody stuff, where he slapped him and he burnt his tie, and everything like that. If they turn on heel and keep Cody as a babyface in this, I think that's a missed opportunity, and I'll be very disappointed. I think the only way you salvage Cody's to stop him getting booed and to salvage his wrestling career, well, maybe that's a bit strong, but to salvage him where he is at the minute right now, turn him heel. That is the only thing you can do right now. And if they turn on heel, which I feel like is where this is heading, is a missed opportunity. And I know that Cody has been saying in interviews that, oh, I'll retire, but I'll never turn heel, or I'll do this, I'll do that.
Oh, is it John Cena you're talking about, or are you talking about Cody Rhodes?
You read my mind. That's what I was just going to say, that he'll become a polarizing character like John Cena. Some people hate him, some people love him. Whether he's okay with that, that's up to him. But I think for the fan base that they're catered to, for their core fan base, turn the guy heel. Because his wife already seems to turned heel. She flipped Malachi Black off in their Grand Slam match and slapped him. So the whole family seems to be heading in that direction. Why not make the main guy your main heel? So we'll see about that. And I just wanted to get your take, particularly about this American Top Team angle that they're running. And I apologize, I'm not the biggest MMA UFC fighter fan, so I don't really know who these people are. I actually had to text my cousin yesterday and say, who are these people? What do I need to know about them? And he texted me back saying, oh, they're big MMA legends and they're a big deal, and are they in AEW now? And I was like, yeah, they're in a feud with Chris Jericho. But it doesn't seem to me that it's getting the traction and it's getting over as much as you would expect if you've brought a big celebrity from another field or another sport. So I just wanted to get your take on it. Are you enjoying this, or is it still lukewarm for you at the minute?
I'll tell you this: if this wasn't the third week or fourth week they were on TV, then I would have been excited about it. I don't know much about MMA either, but I know of a couple of the big names, and I thought to myself, I was like, if this was like a new group that just came in and just blew the Inner Circle away, I would be so much more excited than what's happening right now, which is Sammy Guevara got jumped, he got smashed, right? Then Chris Jericho came, Jake Hager came, and it was like, yeah, this looks like it's a filler. It's a filler kind of feud. It doesn't seem like a genuine feud, personally. So I'm not saying, again, it's not boring or anything. It's still entertaining, but it wouldn't be the way that I would want to see it, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I'm not too excited about it right now, but we'll have to see. It's the thing. Chris Jericho makes things interesting. And I can't believe I'm saying this in 2021, because I used to hate Chris Jericho till like he went to Japan. All right. You know this. I was like, who? Chris Jericho sucks, this, that. But dude has just reinvented himself, that now it's almost a shock that anyone would say, oh, Chris Jericho isn't good. It's like, no, Chris Jericho is amazing. And he's been able to make not so entertaining feuds into really entertaining matches, right? Which at the end of the day matters. And I think with this group, if they do a 6-man tag, or if they do an 8-man, whatever, yeah, something like that, it's going to be entertaining as anything. But personally, I want the Inner Circle to lose. I think the whatever the name of the group is, if they need to be successful, they need to show their pedigree by defeating the so-called the best group in AEW, the Inner Circle. So I think
the commentary team, when they were coming, they showed them coming into the arena through the crowd. They were just naming them, and I really normally enjoy the commentary team on Dynamite, but just by naming them doesn't give me any extra background. If I'm like a person who doesn't watch MMA or UFC and have no knowledge about that sport, then how am I supposed to get excited or invested or into that story, into those characters, if you're just naming them. Give me some background on them. Tell me what they're about, what their accomplishments are. And another thing that struck me as well is they're very green in terms of their wrestling skill.
Mm-hmm.
So is that a cause for concern? I'm not sure, but yeah, I think it just need. I think we need to see where it goes before we make a final judgment on that. But we'll see. It's supposed to be. It's one of the marquee matches next week, when they're in Florida. But one thing I wanted to mention to you and raise to you as well is next Friday's Rampage and Smackdown. They're going to overlap each other by half an hour.
Oh, because of the Super Smackdown thing.
Yeah. So, anybody who says that Vince doesn't see AEW as a threat, why would he overlap his Friday show by half an hour to come back an hour in an hour show, which is not traditionally your Raw of AEW? So I just think that would be interesting to see. And I think Tony Khan tweeted it. I'm not sure if you saw. He did tweet about it saying, okay, you want to come at me? Let's go. Let's see what. So it'll be interesting to see. But for anybody who thinks, oh well, Vince doesn't see them as competition, sorry, that's not gonna wash anymore.
I'm telling you, the way this Rampage went, and a great segue here, man. The way Rampage went, Rampage was amazing as well. And I know I sound like a guy who's an AEW fan, but the thing is, what AEW are doing is what I like about wrestling. So I'm going to praise them when I see really good stuff. The CM Punk, Danny Garcia match. CM Punk, dude, how is he still good? You know, I hated the guy because I never saw him wrestle when he left. Like, when I started watching wrestling again, and I was like, this is an interesting match. Yeah, okay, that's a good match. That's it. Like, I couldn't find a proper bad match with someone like CM Punk. And what he's done in AEW since he's come back, he's fighting younger guys, he's beating them, but still putting them over, which is something that's really, really, really cool. You saw, what was it, Lucha Brothers, Thrasher tag team, I can't remember, but that was an entertaining match too. Ray Phoenix and Penta are just great. They should be the tag champs for at least 6 to 7 months, I think, because they're just outstanding. It's like Rey Mysterio times 2. That's the way I see it, all right? I know people are like, oh, you're comparing. To me, it's like Rey Mysterio and Ricochet became a team, right? And then they did even more death-defying stunts. That's the way I look at it, right? Then you've obviously got, what was it? There was a segment, Jade Cargill is basically the female Goldberg of 2021. And she's a come in, do 3 moves.
I wouldn't go there. That's a bit of a disrespectful comment to make, isn't it?
How Goldberg is a genius. Goldberg was amazing in 97, 90. Come on. That's
in 97, 98, yes, he was very
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
okay. I thought you meant
that generation. Yeah. So she comes in, 3 moves, 4 moves, 5 moves, wins the match, and is like, yeah, I'm here to stay. Same thing with Goldberg. That's what he did. He did punch, kick, spear, jackhammer, wins the match. And that's the comparison I was trying to make. And then I can't remember what else happened on Rampage, because Rampage is stacked for a show that's only 1 hour. They had Brian Cage and that guy who has the championship. Thank you. Right. I'm so annoyed that he lost. I'm so annoyed Brian Cage lost, because this guy would like, oh my god, it's like EC3, right? EC3 when he was in WWE, not just NXT. When he moved out, it was like, oh, they're not doing much with him. And to me, Brian Cage is not being utilized the best way. And apparently he's shown the same concerns. But in my opinion, I thought Brian Cage would be a really good asset to AEW. And if Brian Cage versus Lance Archer, Brian Cage versus John Moxley, Brian Cage versus freaking Waldo, whatever that guy's name is. Wardlow. Thank you, Waldo. Right. Anyways, long story short, I think Brian Cage is a huge asset, and him losing again is just gonna keep making me think, oh, he's great, but he just keeps losing. Doesn't matter if it.
I agree with you. I think him and Lance Archer, they don't really know what they're doing with it with them. I thought when they gave Lance Archer that IWGP US title, okay, that's the direction that they're going with him with. But he lost it, I think, a week or so later. So yeah, I think that they're questionable booking decisions. But then again, I think there's so much talent and not enough TV time. So sacrifices are going to have to be made some at some points. But yeah, I do think that they're questionable decisions. I think Brian Cage needs to move on from this Team Taz feud now and just place him somewhere else and see what else he can do. But yeah, I agree with you in terms of those two superstars. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, man. Thank you, Aman. Just final couple of points. I brought a new segment in called Moment of the Week. So what was your best moment from the wrestling that happened this week? Tell me your moment, my friend.
My moment of the week this week was the return of Hangman Adam Page. From the pop to the his participation in the match, he was so over. That crowd was chanting "Cowboy," you know what, throughout his appearance. And I think that now is the time you strap him, you put the rocket on him, and watch him become a huge, huge name for that company. So that was my moment of the week this week.
I couldn't agree with you more. Basically, until that point, until Hangman came out, right? And I watch a lot of other videos and they were like, Hangman's going to be the Joker. And I was like, all right, awesome. I'm excited. But until that point, my moment of the week was when Jungle Boy had the lock on Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson had it on Kenny Omega. And I was like, oh, that's a nice like kind of twist. But yeah, 100%. Hangman Page coming back, winning the chip, what do you call it? The thing, winning the casino ladder match. Yeah, and hopefully they can send him to the Rocket with this and absolutely thrashing Kenny Omega whenever they face each other. And the wrestler of the week, right? For me, it's Hangman Page as well. But who's your wrestler of the week?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I'm not going to say Hangman because I think that ladder match was conducive to high spots, high excitement, adrenaline, all that sort of stuff. I think from a pure wrestling perspective, I think Finn and Cesaro had the best match this week.
Patata. I knew it. I was like, oh, he's gonna go Finn, isn't he? Right? If Adam Cole was still in NXT, you'd be like, Adam Cole was the best wrestler. I'm kidding. But no, that's fairly well assessed. I'm not the wrestling expert. You are, so I completely understand where you're coming from. But yeah, Finn Balor, Cesaro, that match was, I wouldn't call it a masterpiece, but it was very technical. It was a really, really good match. Awesome. Thank you, Aman. As always, really appreciate your time discussing wrestling this week with us. For everyone watching, please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Please do check out our other videos. Please do leave comments in the comments below. Tell us your thoughts. And yeah, until next time, everyone, take care, stay safe, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.